My name is Abina Johnson, and this is Focus on Liberia. Hit it! From Cape Mount to Cape Palmer, mountain back to Atlantic Ocean, Obomi Hills to Boakai, to educate, elevate, and promote. Yeah, focus on Liberia, for Liberia, Liberia, for Liberia, yeah. From Monday to Sunday, from Monday to Sunday, it's focus on Liberia. Talk about home affairs, in diaspora, current affairs, reliable information, history, talking about culture, politics, education, entertainment, business, sports, advertisement, articulation. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. From Monday to Sunday. Focus on.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to yet another edition of Between the Headlines on Focus on Liberia. My name is Dennis Jah, and we are broadcasting from Atlanta, Georgia. As we go towards the runoff, more and more endorsements for Vice President or the former Vice President Joseph Boakai and incumbent President George Weah. Well, looking at these endorsements and the politics of the campaign, what will a possible Boakai government or a Weah government look like? What would your cabinet look like? What policy direction is the government going to take based on where we are so far if we have a Boakai government or a Weah second term? I spoke to a few people in the Southeast. They said, well, this time we believe the president is going to build the coastal highway. So what will a Boakai government look like? Or what will a Weah government look like? Also, we cannot ignore the fact that a one-time Joseph Boakai confidant and publicist, it was for the lack of a better word, Mr. Henry Pedro Costa has released what he called a bombshell. He has some revelations, according to him, with backed by facts and evidence of, in quotation, who the true beggar is. A lot to go around. There was also a tragic death news of a child who got drowned in the pool at the compound of Mr. Benina Yuri. Our hearts go out to the family. I don't have any detail of that, but it's a very sad situation. Let me welcome the people that we have assembled tonight to talk about these issues and more. First, let me introduce my co-host, the political bulldog, Mr. Ansony Sieh. Mr. Sieh, welcome.
Dennis, it's good to be here. I like the topic. It is better for us to look into what a Boakai or Weah presidency is going to be. Our focus will be on a possible cabinet and also policy direction, each of them, if and when wins, would take. And you are right. The revelations that we heard today that came from Costa, quote unquote, the true beggar, those are things we need to look at. This is Liberia and this is a political season. Let's talk politics and let's do this.
Let's do it. Let me welcome Mr. James Lassa, a former member of the TLA, that's the Transitional Legislative Assembly. Mr. Lassa supports Mr. Boakai. Mr. Lassa, welcome. Let's talk these issues.
Yeah, thank you, Dennis. Glad to be here.
Thank you. Let me also welcome Mr. J. Victor Nambwe, the man who supported Mr. Cummings during the first round. Now he's on the Weah side because that's where the CPP has gone. Mr. Nambwe, welcome to the show. And let me also mention that Mr. Nambwe is or used to be a member of the UPP. Where is that now, Mr. Nambwe? But we're here for something else. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Dennis. It's good to be here. I am still a member of the UPP.
I heard the UPP endorsed Boakai. Is that true?
Well, I'm not sure if that is true.
Okay.
I know this is not the topic for tonight, but we have a new executive committee in charge that collaborated with the CDC throughout the first round.
Okay.
And that executive committee has already come out to endorse President Weah. So
Okay.
I'm not sure about Ambassador Boakai.
Thank you.
Yeah. Let me also welcome Mr. J. Nimne Blamo. He's a progressive columnist, and he tries to be in the center. Sometimes his feet can be showing somewhere on the government side. Mr. Blamo, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be on the show. I think the topic is very interesting, and I'm glad to make a contribution.
Thank you. Let me welcome all our viewers from across the globe. If you have not done so already, please share the show and let's discuss the possible Boakai or Weah government. But before we go into that, I want us to touch a little bit on the Costa revelation. We all know Mr. Henry Pedro Costa, the talk show host, the man who led the June 7th protest, and he's been a voice. He has been on a couple of sides, like sometime supported President Weah, sometime Mr. Boakai, and now he's back to supporting Weah. But he's revealed something that's touching. And let me go to Mr. Sieh to give us a summary. And my first question to all of you will be, do you believe him? Mr. Sieh.
Dennis, thank you. Costa today went live, and according to him, the live media appearance he had today was being carried by about 10 radio stations in Liberia. He was live on his own platform as well. According to him, Front Page Africa and other online media institutions carried the event that he had today. In the event, he revealed a lot of things against Joseph Boakai, and he titled, for the most part, what he had to say, who is the true beggar. And he also showed in that broadcast that he had gone through a lot, and that he actually did not betray Joseph Boakai, because others have said that he has betrayed Joseph Boakai. He tried to prove that it was Joseph Boakai who actually betrayed him. And so to prove that he was betrayed, and not that he betrayed Boakai, and that he's not a beggar, and Boakai is actually the true beggar, he was clear on those two fronts. On the issue of betrayal, he said he has supported Joseph Boakai relentlessly and with everything he got, including money. And he did not do that to allow Joseph Boakai to pick somebody, according to him, who is inherently corrupt. That person in particular is Senator Jeremiah Kun, who Joseph Boakai picked. He mentioned that Senator Kun has been in the legislature for the longest time of his political life. And throughout that time, he has milked the Liberian people's coffer as a man who has been on a committee responsible for, looking at the budget specifically. And he also said that Jeremiah Kun has been able to funnel about $1 million to his clinic. I don't know where he got. The proof is that's one of the things he said. And so he said when he was advocating for the Liberian people, Kun was on the other side. But it was JMB now who went and picked Jeremiah Kun. And the people who have supported Joseph Imam Boakai did not see that Joseph Boakai make a bad decision to have chosen someone who had not been on their side. Their side meaning the Boakai Costa side. Kun was not there. Kun was on the opposite side, who was not with the Liberian people. Joseph Boakai chose that person. He also said Joseph Boakai, by picking Kun, brought Prince Johnson closer to him. And those two individuals have been in the Senate. They have not been on the side of Liberian people. So Joseph Imam Boakai actually betrayed him. He did not do all of what he did in the interest of the people to see someone he classified as a corrupt character to be picked by Jeremiah Kun. He went further by saying, look, the Liberian people set different standard for politicians and different standard for advocates, and they set no standard for themselves. He detailed that by saying, when Joseph Boakai picked Kun, the Liberian people who he was advocating for clapped for Joseph Boakai. They saw nothing wrong with what Joseph Boakai did by picking Jeremiah Kun, who has been a corrupt character. But they didn't set any standard for themselves. But they have a different standard for him, who have been more like an advocate. When he made a decision now that Joseph Boakai made a bad decision, you celebrated him. I disagree with that decision. I'm taking my side. Now they are calling him as a betrayer. So he concluded by saying the true betrayer in the whole scenario, that Joseph Boakai, who betrayed the trust of the people. Then he came to the issue of beggar, because many people have been saying Costa does not have a job. He's a 41-year-old man who has not taken any job and has been begging people from one place to the other. So he tried to prove that Joseph Boakai is the actual beggar, and he went on and listed about 10 transactions through which he sent money personally to Joseph Imam Boakai by raising funds, one of which is that at some point when we heard about the infamous meeting between Alice Cummings and Joseph Boakai, he said just for Joseph Boakai to attend that meeting, Joseph Boakai requested 45,000 United States dollars just to attend. And Alice Cummings made that 45,000 available. Now, he said Joseph Boakai cannot classify himself as somebody who is honest. He said Joseph Boakai is dishonest because Boakai knew what Cummings was looking for. Cummings was opting for Joseph Boakai to get out of the race and support him. Boakai knew he was not up for that. He wanted to run for president, but yet he requested $45,000 to attend the meeting.
50.
So he attended the meeting just to get the money and not to be able to fulfill his side of the bargain based on Alice Cummings' request. And that 45,000, Joseph Boakai got 15,000 of it for his daily allowance just to attend the meeting.
Thank
and
you.
he did a breakdown of that, and $5,000 were left. As of that, the $40,000 was used completely. Joseph Boakai came back to him and requested the $5,000. He also mentioned that $3,000 were coming from Stanton, was being channeled through him, Costa, and was given to Joseph Boakai on a monthly basis. So Joseph Boakai was getting monthly allowance from him and Stanton. So many transactions that he mentioned. At some point, he said him $8,000, and the $8,000 when Joseph Boakai was coming to the United States to see medical attention, it was just for him to put in his pocket. He was responsible for the plane ticket. Plane ticket cost pretty close to $15,000. Dennis, the list is endless about the financial transaction that he was involved in personally that he sent to Joseph Boakai.
Thank you. And let me play a little snippet of Mr. Costa.
But what I said to me, after we had received the man's money to make the trip, what I said, Henry, so that meant I will go step down for him to be, to support him for president. After we have collected Alice Cummings, I'm about to turn the camera on that side, so please understand. After we had collected Ellis Cummins' money, $50,000, well, $45,000. Then Mr. Boakai told me, so what Ellis thinks? So he requested for money to make a trip when he knew he had no interest in what the man wanted.
Right? That was Mr. Henry Costa. He said a lot today. Let me start with Mr. J. Victor Nabe as we go around the room. Do you believe Mr. Costa what he said? Why or why not?
You know what? Thank you, Dennis. And James, welcome, buddy. It's been a minute. I think the last time we met was in Atlantic City. Yeah, it's good to see you.
Yeah. I think at your house, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Many years.
It's been a while, yeah, but it's good to see you.
Great to see you.
Welcome, Danny.
I haven't seen you here, though. I haven't seen you on the show, so let's
here we are. We're together.
Correct.
Yeah. But Dennis, let's take all the politics out of this. If Henry Costa is not presenting documentation, then we could chalk that up to speculation, and we can then speculate as to whether he is to be believed or not. But he's been on the tear for quite a while now. Today is not the only day he's been saying these things. I mean, he had this famous press conference. It's been over a month ago, I believe, where he made similar allegations, and this time he's showing documentation. I am not seeing much pushback from the official campaign of the vice president. Yes, there's a lot on social media, a lot of handlers, they're writing all kinds of stuff, but there isn't any kind of organized formal pushback to dispute the allegations that he's leveling. So by that nature, I find it hard not to believe what he's saying.
I heard you say documents. Are you saying Costa had? He was showing his what's supposed to be exchange of text messages, which I cannot confirm or verify. But so, what document are you talking about?
Well, he showed a plane ticket that was purchased in the vice president's name. That is documentation for me. He showed reservations of Airbnb and other stuff. I agree with you. In this day and age, you can set up any kind of exchange, put the exchange between any amount of people. But I think with the kind of documentation is presented with the date stamped and all of that, it's just kind of difficult not to believe that there are legitimate documentation.
James, let me go to you. Do you believe Mr. Henry Pedro Costa? First of all, they say when alligator comes from under the water to talk about crocodile on land, who am I to say what? What do you believe about this thing?
Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing I can believe. As I listen to him, I'm offended by it each second, each minute. This man is discredited, no longer has any voice. His voice has lost meaning, has no appeal, absolutely no force, because he has been so badly exposed and therefore considered greatly wounded and discredited. Even if he had a legitimate case, he would be better advised to find a proxy through whom the case can be made. He has no credibility. He's lost it. He's exposed. He's a blackmailer. He has lost his standing in the Liberian society, and JMB will not only be wasting his time, but will be doing a needless effort to lend any credence or credibility to the cry of a young man who is confused and naive and just wandering in the wilderness, as if he has no idea on what to say, what to do, what battle to fight. Nothing. At one point, he wants to be senator. Another point, he wants to be vice president. He expects that Boakai should be the one to decide for him which one he should go for. That's nothing for Boakai to respond to. It will be foolhardy to do that. So no, I had respected him long time ago. I used to support him. I used to contribute financially to him. Over time, there were those who now think that I do. Who used to present him as a man, as truly he is. It took some time, and this is just the icing of it. So no.
But Jimmy, do you believe throughout his time with Mr. Boakai, do you believe that money used to change any kind of, I mean, do you believe of any that he raised money, even if it's $1,000 that was raised through him and given to Boakai?
That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying he may not have any amount of truth in the case he's making, even if much of it is falsehood. Even if there's just an iota of truth, he shouldn't be the one to present that. Let him find proxy to pass it through so that some of us can listen. I don't know what sense he thinks it will make to say that, Cummings gave Boakai $45,000 so that Cummings can be president and Boakai can go retire. So since Boakai didn't agree to it and he ate some of the money, it meant that it was wrong. Boakai should have considered the $45,000 as sufficient and wholesome justification for him to surrender his presidential ambition to Cummings. What is that? Appear to play. The guy just has no standing. He has just lost it. I don't know how he's going to survive this. After all, the country is mainly run by a bunch of BM and 419 operators like Weah, like the others, and now like the Costa. Everybody, no credibility. It's not like our generation, but a number. Oh my God, number knows that. When we were in school those days, man, your credibility was number one. Number one.
James.
Yeah.
Thank you, James. Man. Let me go to Glendy.
Correct.
And we'll have time to go. Glendy, normally we say when crazy man carrying you're thinking about to carry your laptop, don't chase them. You think this other crazy man needs to be chased at least? Even if that's a mile?
So hello everybody, it's good to be here. It's pretty sad for me, really sad to see how this relationship of two people have ended up in the public ruins. And not only that, you have Stanton's side of the story, you have Costa's side of the story. You hear nothing from Joe Boakai's scam. I'm not interested in Costa's story. I did not even listen to it. If you see me posting, is just what I read from people pages and I just post. I have zero interest in what he's saying now. This is somebody who stood up to the Liberian people and said, I support Joe Boakai. I want you all to believe this old man is credible. I want you all to work with this old man. I want you all to stand. And in these last minutes, this is the same man who for many years condemned President Weah, spoke ill of his family, spoke ill of people connected to CDC. This is the same man coming out today and is expecting us. And let me tell you, Costa is was like a small brother to me. Most of his initiatives, I was there. I made placards for him. I spoke in his interest in all of that. I have zero interest in what he's saying now. I do not even care about what he has to say concerning Joe Boakai. That's how I don't care whether it's true. I don't care whether it's false. And the other thing I want to talk about is, so somebody sent me text messages of two postings. So one of the text messages is referred to, they're linking it and say this is Joe Boakai's message, but it's two different names. One says JNB, one says Joe Boakai. And we're saying here we have evidence. We don't have any evidence. We only have what Costa is telling us. So until we have somebody else to counteract what he's saying and bring something different, I have zero interest. I'm sorry. I'm not interested in what Costa has to say. Absolutely not interested.
What is the turning point? When have you, what for you to not be interested in what Costa is saying anymore?
It's the fact that this very Costa, who is supposed to be somebody that I'm older than Costa. So these are the young people we're looking up for tomorrow to say these people we're hoping that they'll be able to change the direction of Liberia. These are the people we can say we can trust, we can turn over the country to them. And this is someone who we've seen in the last since 2017 has vacillated his ideas on so many issues. So why would I not believe in this person who I believed in before, who said that, I want you all to support Joe Boakai. I don't. President Weah is this and President Weah is that. And now coming last minute to say, no, don't believe in Joe Boakai, believe in President Weah. I don't even care what he says. If he were to come and tell me something happened to my dad right now, which my father is dead, I wouldn't believe it. I wouldn't care.
Glendy.
Yes.
You are giving legitimate reason why you don't even care what Costa has to say.
I don't care.
Yeah, let me learn, please. You have a legitimate reason for saying you don't care what he says now. This is a person, according to you, you supported. He was somebody you are looking up to who will be a leader in our country tomorrow. You have believed in him. But today, because of what he's done, you don't trust him, right?
I don't.
So, yeah, it's Costa too now. In similar position where you are, he came close to Joe Boakai. He saw Joe Boakai, everything. Joe Boakai called him my God-sent nephew.
According to Costa.
According to Costa.
According to Costa. And he, like you, is saying, I don't believe this man anymore. I don't trust this man anymore. I can't work with him anymore. Why you don't want to think that he has reason for what he's doing, just as you have reason for saying what he's saying now?
And he can have his reason. He can have his reason. Answer, there can be reasons. Now, I'm not saying, of course, he has his facts. I have not seen anybody come out with something to counteract what his facts are. I don't care whether what he's saying is true or what he's saying is false. They had a relationship. I'm pretty sure some of those things he's saying, there's a possibility they occur. My concern is why now? What happened now? And if you look at somebody like you said, if I were to say, if an elderly person was to say, you are my trusted niece, it means that we have a relationship. I should be able to go to you. It means that there are things that we shared privately that should not have come to the public ruins, should not have come there. So for me, I don't care what Costa explains. For me, it is too late right now.
And Glendy, if I may, it's like you are putting the entire blame squarely on Costa now.
I am not.
And you don't see where Uncle Joe.
No, you didn't ask. The question was not about Uncle Joe. The question from Dennis was specifically about Costa. Of course, Joe Boakai has some responsibilities. I'm not going to be naive about that. Because if you have a statement that Joe Boakai, who as elderly as he is, has to also bear some responsibility not to allow himself to be as vulnerable based on what Costa is saying. The question was about Costa, not about Joe Boakai. He has responsibilities.
Thank you. Thank you. Let me go to Mr. Jab Nimle Blamo. Mr. Blamo is a political commentator. So Mr. Blamo, what do you believe here? And do you believe whether true or false, we should hear from Mr. Boakai?
Well, basically, I've been following everything that Costa has been saying, and none of the information is new to me. He has been presenting what he considered to be the facts. I read some of them on his phone. I saw documentation. At this point, I have very little reason to believe that Costa's whole presentation is totally false, because the politicians in Liberia take donations. In fact, election period and presidential election are time where collections are taken. And everybody have confirmed between Costa and Stanton that they have been giving Joe Boakai money. So, and the two speakers ahead did not even give a strong denial. One person is saying that the whole country is being run by BM, so everything is nonsense. Another person will say, I don't care whether it's true or not. How will Boakai even stand low to deal with a man like Costa? Another aspect of it is Costa has disappointed a good majority of the population. So at this time, his credibility is at stake. The betrayal message has overshadowed his information. But that doesn't necessarily say that it's true or it's not true, because this man is presenting some very strong points, and he's showing evidence of it. Yes, you have to question his motives, but that does not mean that his information is wrong. And I have no fish to fry to say that Costa is totally wrong because politically, every information in this election is exaggerated. But Costa, in my indication, Costa, they gave Joe Barker money. And Joe Barker have gotten money from Costa and Stanton regularly. In the both shows, they both confirm it. They just have a twist as to why they are giving money and whether the money is from Stanton or is from Costa. And Costa, who never worked in America, how is he even getting money when this money are donation sent to him for Joe Barker? He is the collector. So more or less, it's not Costa money. It's people giving Joe Barker money.
He raised the money, fundraiser.
Well, raise it. So what's wrong with that? And with reference to Costa's own position, I think we'll leave that to history and the individual citizens to decide. But Ansony made a very good point. Costa is equally disappointed with Joe Barker to the point that he's enraged. It's the same way people are disappointed with Costa.
Yes.
So everybody got to make their decision, but you definitely have to. You cannot overlook the impact it's having on the election, because you having Joe Barker with the Prince Johnson factor. People can argue that how dare you even take the people that he selected? You could have gone with Gonglo. You could have gone with other people. So you see the controversy. Every person is calling the next person the devil, and I take exception to the first speaker saying that the whole country is run by BM, because Joe Barker was a part of the administration of Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. All these people are politicians. Cat is eating his own baby. All of them are political animals. So you telling me that the next mayor is a BM and you not a BM, and Costa is saying no, you've been eating money. My own frustration, I am totally frustrated with all the politicians.
Yeah. So,
Well, look, Dennis, I don't know.
Hold on, Jimmy. You raised a very important question or issue here. There is Costa, there is Stanton, and now there's Boakai.
Yes.
Yeah.
People I've seen a lot of posts that say, hey, Stanton and Costa, they are the same people. I don't want to listen to them. Now we have Boakai in the midst, right? Where do we put Boakai then? If we look at Stanton, Costa, and Boakai, and each of them, Costa is making claims, Stanton is making claims. Both of them kind of corroborate that indeed money came from Stanton to Boakai. Should we hear from Boakai as well to clear his name?
Absolutely not. Absolutely unnecessary, because
no, let Blambo. hold on, Jimmy. Okay. I'm Blambo, because you put the three of them together.
My last statement was that I am disappointed with all the politicians in the race. I feel that we don't have good options. We don't have excellent options. And our choices, the question of limiting us to the two candidates is within itself some level of unfairness. And the individual right to respond is left with the individual. I think Joe Barker should respond. And because the damage Costa is doing is not something you can ignore.
Right. Thank you. Let me welcome Mr. Mohammed Sharif. This is our friend from the Waplo Institute, all the way from God's back in Kalipo, Kanwike. And Mr. Sharif had a very beautiful story. I know we'll leave it for another time about his contribution to Waplo and the people from there. But Mr. Sharif, welcome to the show. We're discussing the Costa revelation. I don't know if you heard them, but what you make of? Do you believe what Costa is saying is true?
I mean, which one of the revelations? He
well,
has
today he
tons
revealed
of revelations.
Today he revealed money coming from him to like 10 different times to Mr. Boakai, and Boakai almost like pestering him about money. Give me the money. We need this money. It used to be 3,000, but can we put it up to 5,000? and that there was a connection with Alex Cummings to say, okay, give me bow out of the race, and Boakai charged a ton of money. Even to meet him in Accra, Boakai charged 150,000. Cummings said, I can only give 50, and Cummings was able to give 45,000. And even with that, Mr. Boakai wanted more. And he went on and on and on revealing these things with what he called the text message exchange with Mr. Boakai. And that's what he was showing on the screen. FOL did not verify whether those messages are true or accurate.
So he was at one point the point man for Joseph Boakai. So he became like the collector from what we heard. But he had a motive. So his motive was to become vice president of the Republic of Liberia, become a vice presidential nominee, using Joseph Boakai as a conduit to achieve his political ends. So he put himself in that position. So when he did, look, if you volunteer to run my campaign, if I ever have a political ambition, years from now, I don't know, and you volunteer to run my campaign, and I know you and I trust you, Dennis, I am going to. There will be some level of credibility and reliance. I will rely on you. So the communication between me and you, I will hope that anytime there's a fracture in our relationship, I will hope that communication will remain between me and you, even though we will probably not have signed a confidentiality agreement, but under a certain gentleman's agreement. You want to leave these things confidential. But that being said, since Costa has decided, as he always has, gone very low, I don't think that Joseph Boakai recruited him. I think he tried to recruit Joseph Boakai by inviting Joseph Boakai to the United States, spend time here, do fundraisers and this and that and the other. He always have had ulterior motives. This is somebody who now, in my book, I cannot, he's discredited for me now, because he was someone that I admire for his vociferous opposition to the regime of George Weah. And then, I didn't like some of the things, though. He was calling George Weah a four-legged animal. He was calling George Weah a womanizer. He was calling George Weah a cow. He was calling George Weah a pig. Someone, he cannot be a part of the CDC. So here is someone who has said all of that. He swore that he would never be a part of the CDC. Comrade Sherry, if I may, you made a good point from the beginning there, that Costa did all of this because he wanted to use Joseph Boakai as a conduit to become vice president later on in his political dealings with Joseph Boakai. I agree that is true. Joseph Boakai had a decision to make whether to welcome Costa close to him. So if we can hold Costa responsible for whatever he's doing now, is it fair to say, Joseph Boakai, this Costa guy is not new to you? This is a guy that called you the dead man walking. I mean, was Joseph Boakai too using Costa? Because the transactions that he mentioned from the exchanges between the two of them suggests that Joseph Boakai was enjoying that. So can we hold Joseph Boakai responsible in any way that this is coming back now to bite him because of a decision he made?
The story of Henry Costa v. Joseph Boakai v. George Opong Weah now is the chickens coming home to roost. Costa, Henry Pedro Costa, was actually opposed Joseph Boakai, call him names, all the names in this world, call him all kinds of names. And then the same Henry Pedro Costa, a couple of years later, he became a repentant politician, embraced Joseph Boakai, repented for his sins, political sins, and then embrace this statesman, this elderly statesman. They call him an elderly statesman, and campaign for him, lobby for him, raise funds for him. So this statesman has thought that this man has actually repented. A lot of us who believe in religion, right? A lot of times we take people for who they are. We say, okay, so and so did this to me. Now he's repented. So there's no need. Who am I? To continue to hold.
Jesus
this
said,
thing
bring forth fruits worthy of repentance. Did Boakai see those fruits?
So I'm sure the Reverend,
I'm
sure the Reverend Jai here will help us with some of those things, right? So you have to understand that the Liberian society Liberians are forgiving people. Believe me, Liberians are always, you do something, come and see it. A lot of times you hear people say, "Oh, let's just move on." How many times you hear this from Liberians? Oh, I'm just going to move on. Oh, let's just move on. When we were in high school, you do something to somebody, say, okay, my man, forget about it. Okay, we just going to be bygone.
Mr. Plummer, can you set up a little bit? But here's my question to all of you.
Yeah.
Two things can be right at the same time, right?
Yeah.
Costa can be all that you have said, Mr. Sharif, and yet what he said about Boakai can also be true. Agree?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that.
As I have to say this, Dennis, I think we're looking at this the wrong way if we continue to scrutinize Henry Costa. We are crucifying the messenger as opposed to paying attention to what the gentleman is saying. Costa is warning the nation of a colossal mistake that is about to be made. And he's telling you the potential candidate you are about to put in the office is untrustworthy. He's not well. Is likely to vacate the position in a short period of time to a character you did not intend to elect. I think those are the things he's putting on the table. So I think we're looking at it the wrong way if we come here tonight to scrutinize who the person Henry Costa is and try to crucify him.
Could it be true of George Weah as well, what he said about George Weah? Could it be true as well with George Weah?
But that's not the question.
That is not the question.
George Weah?
The question was whether
Mr. Nambe, please go ahead.
The question was whether we believe what Henry Costa is saying or not. That is the question we are discussing here. So we're leaving the question on the table and we're attacking the messenger and not looking at the substance of what the messenger is conveying to us. And I think that would be a mistake.
I don't think so, though. Because the thing about it is you only have one set of cards on the table. You only have the cards from Costa. So how are we going to scrutinize Joe Boakai? I mean, we could. How so? Because what you're asking us to do is
Glendy, you are wrong.
What you're asking. No, let me finish. What you're asking us to do is to believe everything that Costa has said. That's what you're saying. We're treading one if we just believe everything.
But what options do we have there, Glendy?
So, because we only have that.
The other side is communicating. Silence is communication.
If the other side,
we can also be objective and say this is what we have, so we're going to scrutinize it based on his record, based on what he's done in the past. We have nothing else to go against what Costa is saying now, except for what he's been doing in the past.
We have Joe Boakai's silence.
How can you say we're treading wrong? We have we have nothing from Joe Boakai. We only got Costa's side.
That's communication.
We would be comparing what Costa is saying against what Boakai would have said. He's saying nothing.
Okay.
He has said nothing. Not only that, Mr. Witherspoon, who is now the savior that Costa was to the UP, is confirming what Henry Costa is saying. He's
some of it.
Yeah, he's saying yeah. He's saying he gave you some of the money that
he's actually basically discrediting Costa.
That's what he means.
He's not even confirming Costa.
It's on record confirming some of the stuff. This question is.
Victor, thank you. And James, let me come to you, James. Let me come to you.
Costa was receiving
Thank you, Victor.
Asking, so how much of it went to Costa? That's the argument they're making. They're not
Thank you,
denying
Victor.
what the man is saying.
Victor,
Yes.
How much of it is Glendy confirming? How much of it is Glendy accepting? How much of it are you rejecting? Are you rejecting confirming 50 and rejecting 3,000?
No, hold on. I'm speaking directly to what Victor is saying, that we are treading wrongly. How can we tread wrongly when we only have one side of the story?
We have two sides.
We
got silence.
Glendy,
we do not have two sides.
Glendy,
Have you heard?
Give us time here. We don't have one side.
Have you
He's
heard?
referencing.
Joe
Hold on,
Boakai
Glendy,
speak?
you will continue. Glendy, you will
Joe
continue. Glendy, you will continue. He's explaining to us and displaying to us their exchange. Two different communication between
One
Boakai.
from JNB and one from Joe Boakai. How can I say which one of those text messages came from Boakai?
Ask Joe Boakai.
Glendy, we are talking about what Costa. Glendy, we are talking about
Ask
what
him.
Costa revealed today. What Costa revealed today does not carry JMB and Joe Boakai.
It does. One of the text messages carry JNB, and let me send it to Dennis because they sent it to me. One has JNB and one has Joe Boakai. So you tell me now on focus on Liberia. Tell me now which one you're authenticating that is true.
Glendy, everybody on the show confirmed that money was exchanged,
There be a
except you.
possibility that Joseph Boakai has two numbers, and one is JMB and one is Joe Boakai.
It's possible, but can it also be possible that one of those numbers has his picture and the other one does not have his picture on it?
That is
So
also
how can
possible.
we come now and authenticate and say, okay, I'm not listen. There's an iota of responsibility.
But Glendy, do you agree that we're not hearing from one source here? We're hearing from two persons. Messages from Boakai to Costa.
What
messages
Costa
from
showed
Costa
us.
to Joe
Anthony,
Boakai
don't do
being
that, you know.
exposed.
Anthony, this is only based on what Costa. We have to be fair.
But you say you don't care whether it's correct or not.
Hold on 1 second. What Costa has shown to us is what we have seen.
Yeah.
If we see someone else showing something else, then we will speak to that objectively.
Then I have a question for
James.
James. I have a question for James. James, if you are saying Costa is discredited, you don't want to hear from him, do you also not want to hear from Stanton? If you are saying Costa, well, he's doing a lot of bad things now, you can't hold Joseph Boakai accountable. Joseph Boakai has been in business with Stanton as well.
Yes.
Will it be the same?
Look, to tell the truth, I just think I view the whole thing as an entertainment. It's a whole entertainment going on. And
so in the entertainment, you see Joseph Boakai part of the entertainment?
Boakai is silent. You would think that to be silent will mean, they say what silence is consent. In this case, Boakai's silence clearly means dissent. It means he doesn't agree with it. Interestingly, that is the reality.
How can you make that assumption?
Are you a spokesman for Boakai?
First time,
because we have numbers.
Yeah, you coming, James. The first time Costa made, when he had that press conference that you listened to, right? When he put all those things aside, what was Joseph Boakai respond? I forgave him that my son. He didn't say he lied. Those were very strong allegations. That press conference was powerful. All Boakai had to say, that's my son, I forgive him.
And it did work.
Or whatever you call it.
No, but it did work. There's a politics we have for election. I heard one or two persons here saying that the allegations being made by Costa will have damaging impact on the VP's presidential ambition. I don't think that's true. We have numbers that are available that can contradict any such thinking or thought process. For example, Costa just 2 days ago went to Magibi along with Colasco and Boakai Fofana, the deputy minister. And in Magibi, and the citizens of Magibi were calling in, and the 19 that called, many called. The 19 that I heard, only 3 of them were supporting what Costa was doing, and the remaining 16.
That is true. There was
correct. They were saying, "Oh, you know, you've been talking to us, and we don't believe you." And what Costa is doing is going to have no impact. So I have to say that we are won by 4.
Dennis, hold on. When Costa had a press conference, Dennis, the Unity Party as a political institution had one major response. That was there are caps. Glenn can attest to it. They have caps that they agree with all Costa said.
But
So
that
the
we
Labour
agree is
Party-
a slogan that has been around. That
No,
we
no, no,
even
no, no,
even
no, no,
even CPP people use it. We agree now.
Yeah.
So you can't
But,
you can't put it on to you because
Glendy,
it's a slogan
Glendy,
that
that
has
is
been
not
around.
true.
Go
It
back
was
to
after that press conference, they
It's
bring
been
out
a
those caps
slogan that
that
has
we agree.
prior to it. No, I would not agree because that we agree has been around from the first round, and that was a form of saying that whatever you all want to say, whatever
We had a
argument
press
you bring,
conference
or whether
before the
Boakai
first
is sick
round.
or not, we agree.
It will have no impact.
That
And-
slogan was there.
Correct.
Answer,
And
let me
Ansony,
say
I'm
this.
sorry you had to cut me
That is
off.
not
But the
true.
fact is that, like I was saying, we
Let me
have
say this. Let me say this. My friend Lassa has been around. He's been in the game for a while. I'm shocked that he's going this way. Between Boakai and Weah, the two of them brought in almost 87% of the vote. Right?
No.
This way is
I don't agree with that. But complete your thought.
You just said numbers 43 and 43. That's 86.
No, the numbers I'm talking about is 19 quarters.
No,
I
I'm
don't want to
coming.
hear that Costa's
I'm coming to
allegation
that.
will make
I'm coming to
impact
that.
because
Those 19 callers were the one that got through.
What is basically on the
The
table?
other people didn't
I
have
have
cell
complete
phone.
thought. Why you guys don't want to allow me complete my
All
thought?
right, hold on, gentlemen.
Then I will listen
Let
to
me
you.
come
Then
in.
All right, there's
What
another
is-
aspect here.
So
which
what is
is-
basically on the table is 13% that the two gentlemen are more or less fighting for. Mark Gibby happens to be a county that the former vice president won. So if you go to Mark Gibby and you're taking 3 votes from the 19, that's chipping away. I will be concerned.
No.
Yeah, gentlemen,
No.
hold on. I don't want to. We can go to the numbers later. But here is
Well,
another
numbers
factor.
are important. They
Hold
have
on, Lassa.
values
Hold on,
and they
James.
can be applied to
Costa
depend on
also
logic.
talked about Alexander Cummings, that he gave. There were efforts. There was at some point there was a loud noise coming from the ANC talking about Boakai is not going to run. Boakai is not going to be in the race when all is said and done. Do you think if there is any corroboration from the ANC that indeed Boakai was given 45,000 just to go to Accra, or there was a negotiation going on so he can back out? Would that suggest also that what Costa indeed is saying is true, or we're going to just dismiss Costa altogether because according to you he's discredited?
Well,
What
let me say this. From what I know, there were very active discussions. You understand me? There are a number of us who believed, and we still believe up to today, the best ticket would have been a Boakai Cummings ticket. So there were several scenarios being worked out. Whether Cummings go first or Boakai go first.
No, that was, after the whole thing,
Yeah.
Cummings asking Boakai to step aside. After
Right.
the whole CPB document, after they've gone
Yes,
away.
I'm talking about after the whole CPB collapse. I'm talking about as late as August to July of
Right.
Yes. So there were active discussion. There was always hoped that
Did Cummings give money, as far as you know?
I can't corroborate that except apart from what Costa is saying, but we do know there was a meeting in Ghana between Boakai and Cummings. We know that.
So that Mr. Cummings can tell about the money.
Okay, and Dennis, to answer your question.
Boakai tell us about the money because he's a
No,
receiver.
that commission you say, Boakai not talking that Cummings come.
Correct.
What Costa is saying. That's
Correct.
it.
And Dennis,
Cummings can tell that he didn't want to get the money, so let him
The
tell us.
Boakai will not talk again. Then you will say you believe it.
No, when Cummings come, I will believe Cummings.
And the reason why I don't even want to dwell on this issue is that even, let's say, given a scenario under which that was possible, it's just irrelevant to the process. If Cummings is inviting Boakai to Ghana, he shouldn't expect Boakai to finance such a transfer. If Boakai was to receive any amount that to compensate for what it would take him and his delegation to Ghana, what's wrong with that? I think this is just a distraction. Costa is a distraction. He's going to have no effect.
But,
We need to push it.
Mr. Scurry, I want to speak to that. Should there be any backdoor deal, money changing hands between Cummings and Boakai based on what we know at that point? I mean, the virtual language between the Cummings camp and the Boakai camp. I know these things happen at the back door, but will you be disappointed if that were true?
No, not at all. I will consider that normal occurrence.
I'm asking Mohammed now. I know you're not disappointed. You say it's fair game because Boakai is charging 150,000 according to Cummings, according to Costa, to go to Accra. And out of the 45 that he got, he was still asking for more, even though he got 15,000 out of that money. So, will you be disappointed?
Look, Dennis, I don't know whether Cummings wanted 25 people to be in a meeting in Ghana, or he wanted 50, or he wanted 2.
Let
That would
Mohammed
depend.
respond.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
If that is the situation, would I be? You're asking me if I would be disappointed. I mean, look, one of the things that I have said that we're not. Keep in mind in this election, we're not electing saints. These are not saints. You know, we're not talking about St. Peter. You know, or saint with somebody who is blameless. So if we're looking for a real clean candidate, we don't have it in this election. We don't have
Thank
that.
you.
So what we have is that one that will show some, for me at least, one that will show respectability to the office of the presidency and the executive mansion, and Joseph Boakai, who is not going to go dancing. We have the World Cup coming up, Dennis, in 3 years. You're not gonna. Joseph Boakai is not going to go to the World Cup. I have a problem. I'm worried that, you know, if Opon gets reelected, he will take off again and go to the World Cup for 2 months. Joseph Boakai does not go to the World Cup, so that you can forget it.
I don't know where we're going with this.
That's number one. That's number one. Number two, Joseph Boakai is not going to.
Will he be asking Stanton for money to go?
Dennis, 1 second. If he's elected, Joseph Boakai is not going to fly to Ghana to visit a girlfriend. So that's not going to happen. You know, if you don't believe me, ask Henry Costa. Joseph Boakai is not going to have.
So you're going to believe that Weah is going to visit girlfriend,
but Dennis,
but you don't want
Dennis,
to
not letting me. Dennis,
go ahead.
Dennis is not letting me finish my thought. Okay, so Joseph Boakai is not going to have people on the internet, on Facebook and stuff like that, fighting over him. You know, female companions. You know, if you don't believe me, ask Henry Costa.
Comrade Sharif, the question
you're not going to have that. So there's that respectability.
Comrade Sharif, you made your point that the question Dennis is asking is that you believe all of these allegations against Weah, but you are hesitant to believe allegations that are coming out against Boakai.
No, that's not true. That's not true. I just told you that we're not electing saints in this election. I have said that I don't have confidence that any of these guys will be radically different. What does that mean, radically different? Is to take us in a completely new direction. But you're going to have a situation where one of them will show respectability to the office of the presidency, and one will not. One will go dancing and produce music. The other one does not know how to sing. One will be serious about the presidency. The other one is unserious. The other one will give messages at his church. And that's his, you know, like, you know how when people say meet the press here, George Weah's meet the press is his church. That's where he deliver his messages. That's where he deliver his State of the Union. That's where he criticizes his opponents, including Henry Costa, who has been criticized in that church, you know, numerous times. So that's what we're going to have. So in these leadership, you have to find something that.
So, comrade, you're talking about You're talking about respectability. President Weah did not show respect to the Liberian people by refusing to appear at the presidential debate.
Right.
Joseph Boakai looked at that. He said, "Oh, I'm not going there too." And you're talking about respectability, right?
So Joseph Boakai, see, this is the thing. Joseph Boakai should have shown up at that debate, right? Joseph Boakai should be addressing the things that we're talking about now, right? I've talked about that for a long time now. You should be addressing. If I was a strategist tonight, I'm addressing these issues, right? I'm addressing a whole host of issues. If I'm a strategist to the campaign, I'm encouraging my candidate to show up at the debate, whether the president goes there or not, because this is a president that doesn't know what to say. He doesn't know how to articulate the vision that he has. He may have some vision, I don't know, but he doesn't know how to articulate those visions. So you as a candidate, you have to show up. You have to show some difference. It's the reason why I'm encouraging the Unity Party people to encourage Joseph Boakai to be competitive, very competitive in Grand Bassa County. Be very competitive in Bong, places that the CDC is going to win. Be very competitive in the Southeast. Go over there, Joseph Boakai. Don't give it to Boy Child or send, senators that have already been defeated. What's the guy from Sino who was already defeated?
Sieh.
TJ is going to sign.
Thank you, Comrade.
If you send TJ to Sino County to campaign, I mean, what are you going to get out of that? You need Joseph Boakai to go to Sino County like tomorrow. Go to Kepamas. Go to Zwedru. Go to all these places. River G County.
Thank you. I want us to end on this one before we go to our next topic. It is clear that we have no proof that the text messages Costa is showing that they're legit, right? We don't have the proof for that. And so far, we have only Costa saying this, and there's a little corroboration from Stanton, all right? The only thing that we've not had now is what Boakai going to say. Silent means consent, according to my friend Lassa, is dissent. But be it as it is there any pattern or is there any history of Mr. Boakai behaving this way that will lead us to believe that there's some truth to the allegations Costa is making? Let me start with Mr. Blamo this time.
Well, everybody on this panel has admitted to some degree that money changed hands. Costa was raising money, whether he was the middleman or not, for Joe Boakai. So the pattern of collecting money, and one of the speakers said, everybody is a BM, but money collection and contributions is historically acceptable and is well known. So following that trend, I would say Joe Boakai did receive money from Costa. We can all interpret the motive beyond Costa proclamations, but Joe Boakai did receive money from Costa and Henry Stanton.
Yeah, Dennis,
let me go to Glendy first. Does Boakai have a history of crime pull off? Just to put it that way, does he have any history of that he will be doing stuff like this, asking people for money and asking, and that strong bond that he had with Costa? Should it be really that, hey, the only reason the two are being this strong will be money? Something that Costa is saying today. That because this guy is wasting money.
I'm going to start from your ending, because if you're saying that when you say money, Costa is younger, could it be also that he was using Joe Boakai to get some money for himself? Could that be a possibility? He's younger. Could it mean that if Costa goes to someone and say, Uncle Joe sent me to get $5,000 or he wants this, is it possible? Let's be logical. Is it possible that he would have given that to him? He would have gotten what he wanted?
But is that a question?
Mr. Blamo, you spoke.
Hold on, Mr. Blamo.
The other thing also is, you're also saying you're also looking at, when we want to look at this, we want to be fair. You're asking me if there's a pattern for Joe Boakai. I don't know that. The last time I know is that President Weah offered Joe Boakai money for somebody was sick or something. I don't know a pattern of Joe Boakai being begging for money. And I will tell you, Joe Boakai, I was in the same church, Effort Baptist Church, for many years. I've never heard about that. So that would be new for me. But if I'm young and I'm connected to someone who's influential, there's a possibility that person's name, I'm going to use it to get some stuff. So I don't know if there's a pattern here, unless you tell me there's a pattern. The only thing
there was
the younger person can take
3,000 money allowance that was coming from Stanton. Will you consider that a pattern or not?
Say that again.
I said Stanton confirmed that there was a 3,000 monthly allowance that was coming from his Stanton to Costa to Joseph Boakai. Will you consider that a pattern or the trend?
Well, did Stanton explain to us how the money, why he was giving that money? Was Boakai the one that asked Stanton to give the money?
That's immaterial. Was
it
Boakai
is.
receiving
It's
this money?
material to what Anthony is saying because
No.
Anthony is
No,
asking if
we
he's
want
looking
to
for
establish
something.
if Boakai was getting this money from Stanton, because Boakai is not working for Stanton. Boakai was not performing any service. So was it a campaign money? Is it something that you believe that indeed Boakai was receiving this money, regardless of what Stanton's motive is or what
Dennis,
Costa's motive is?
do you want me to speak to the issue, Dennis?
No, but the
Let
thing
Brandy
about
finish. You will come in.
the thing about it is, if Stanton has to some degree corroborated this story, we can say, in all fairness, we can say yes, Joseph Boakai was getting money from Stanton.
And why?
Why was he getting it? That's Stanton's question.
No, that's Boakai's question.
Joseph
Boakai,
Boakai
you don't work for this man. Why are you
Stanton
receiving monthly allowance from him?
Stanton has corroborated it.
Boakai, why are you getting this money? You are not working for Stanton. You are not employed by Spoon TV.
If I were broke right now, you give me $100. Why wouldn't I take it?
But why would I be giving you $100 every week?
Because
there's good reason for that. There's good reason for that.
You could give me some money.
Why should Boakai always be the recipient of this humanitarian?
When you're saying that, then you're assuming that you have proof that this is what Boakai does.
No, but that's what I'm asking you. I'm asking you.
I don't
if this
have
man is
proof.
receiving $3,000 monthly from Stanton Witherspoon.
That's a question that Stanton needs to answer. Why? But I also don't want us to
look at America.
And I also, hold on, James. I also don't want us to skip this fact about Mr. Cummings. I mean, I just found out here tonight that Mr. Cummings gave Joe Boakai $45,000. Why did he give it to him? Why did he even want to go to a meeting to just freely
I tell you why. I tell you why
he gave it to somebody to forget about their desires.
I can tell you why. I can tell you why he gave it.
To do it also.
I can tell you why he gave it.
Why?
Okay. He invited Joe Boakai to a
Why
meeting.
would he be inviting outside the country and paying?
Why not?
To play?
Why
not? Why?
Hold on, now, Brandon, you wanted to know. Let him explain.
Yeah, he invited Joe Boakai to a meeting, and Joe Boakai requested money to facilitate the trip.
Do you have proof?
Lindy, can someone else talk now, man?
You have proof?
Lindy, someone needs to talk too now.
Does he have proof?
And Glendy, will you doubt?
I'm here representing UPL.
I was saying
good job. You allow others to talk. I'm just listening to you. And here's the thing, Glendy. You believe that Mr. Cummings has given money to Boakai? Will you believe or doubt that?
I will not.
Why?
I will not doubt it from Mr. Cummings.
So here's the thing. Cummings was confirmed by the Cummings team that Cummings are giving $25,000 to Prince Johnson. You are aware of the multiple donations and contributions Cummings has made to institutions in Liberia.
Yes.
So why will you doubt this one?
I'm not doubting Cummings' money. We're not talking about Cummings' money here. My question was, why was Mr. Cummings meeting Joseph Boakai outside of Liberia and giving him $45,000? That's my
reason,
question.
political reason.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
Cummings are up there for Joe Boakai to get out of the race.
So he knows why. Let Victor tell us why.
Cummings are up there for Joe Boakai to get out of the race. So he needed to finance the meeting that would have facilitated that. Simple.
Would that be paying him to abandon his desire of wanting to be
president? Is correct.
Would that be right?
That is correct.
That would be wrong. That
was appropriate to do.
Yes.
Well, you can determine what I appropriate now. I'm only telling you that was the intent.
Kennedy's expenses are retired and asked to suspend their campaign. It's done all over the place.
And Glenny, you have saying
I don't believe that. I don't believe that. Right. I don't believe Joseph Boakai. I don't believe Joseph Boakai would suspend his campaign, his promising campaign for $45,000. What is $45,000? That is unsubstantiated.
$45,000 was not to
$45,000 was intended for the meeting.
It was just bring it to the meeting.
So why could they not have met in Liberia? Why could they not?
But why Cummings didn't say that?
Thank you.
Why Joe Boakai didn't say that? Say. Each of the people can talk.
That boy got getting money.
Nobody and so the bottom line is we need Mr. Boakai to respond, don't you think, Mr. Sharif?
Yeah, Mr. Boakai should respond to this. Like so many different things, he should, but he's not going to for political expediency. And if he does not respond to it, it's not going to hurt his campaign. I mean, his campaign is going to move forward. On November 14th, he's going to win a slim margin over George Weah. He's not going to respond to this. He should. Dennis, that's the correct answer for me is he should respond to it. Like I said, they should be responding to so many different things. If I was a strategist on that campaign or communication director on that campaign, these are the things that I will be responding to. I would like to respond to these things.
Last question. Costa is actually on a mission. Is he making any impact? Is this negatively impacting the Boakai campaign, or is it water on Doc's back?
I would like to go on that question.
Yes, sure.
I agree, even though I normally would not agree with my man. He's a big politician. But I agree that if I were Joe Boakai's strategist, I would respond. And the idea to say that Costa will have no impact on Uncle Joe campaign, I think it's a mistake. The UP is making a series of mistakes. One, they assume that George Weah can never win election in Liberia. Notwithstanding, the election, each of these people have almost 50-50 vote. But George Weah 50 vote is considered as a non-vote. Only Joe Boakai get vote. The same way Senator Dillon came on the air and showed a plastic bag and said election over, UP won. He had all the document in there. This overconfidence that Costa has no impact is a mistake. You have to realize that we're not fighting for people who are for Joe Boakai, and we are not fighting for people who are for George Weah. We are fighting for the undecided people. And the undecided comprise of some of our very, not very educated masses. Henry Costa is a young man. He is not totally despised by the whole nation. There are some people, Henry Costa is loved. Henry Costa stood in America and was able to organize a campaign in Liberia where I set him foot there. So these people remember Henry Costa. So to say today that whatever Henry Costa says is irrelevant is a mistake. Even if UP loses 20 votes, it's still votes. And I believe Henry Costa will have more than the impact on the election.
But you should be happy, Mr. Blamo. He's only
Dennis, what the Unity Party can do?
That's not a question.
James, do you believe Costa is having any negative impact on the Boakai campaign? Is Boakai going to lose votes because of Costa's campaign? Because he is vicious, he is unrelenting, and he's talking.
I tell you, Dennis, just to say that I left my cable at my office. My computer is almost out of charge. So if I leave from here, I might come back, I might not come back. I have to say that the last round of question was quite interesting, and I didn't have a little take on that. I just want to stress that what is appearing here, or at least around here, is an attempt to weaponize or criminalize what is otherwise a very good and valuable thing to do, which is fundraising. A candidate's electability depends on 5 basic elements. That is, number one, the most important one is fundraising, his appeal, his message, his influence, and his experience. His or her, let me put it that way. So if Boakai has that appeal, that can appeal to the people, and Costa recognizes that, and he's a smart guy, he's hustling for money, a man who doesn't work, and he feels that he could use the man's appeal.
What do you mean doesn't work? The man is on the radio and a big political party, that's work.
Yeah, I'm coming. If he can use the woman's appeal to raise funds, and he gave and Boakai is on record for receiving it. I don't no Biden after serving the government as a youngest senator was there for more than 50 years now. His son died. He was proud to go in the public to say that in order to bury his son folded with what he has planned, he didn't have enough money, and that Barack Obama had to loan him money from his book sale. I don't see what's wrong with Boakai being able to raise funds, even if it is done through Stanton or Costa or so. What I haven't heard is even if it is true that it is criminal. This is a valuable, it's a success story that some people are trying to turn around. In the end, Costa's allegations are set to have
what is the success story you say?
None to very little impact on the election because he is discredited, he is wounded, he's a sole loser, and no one is going to listen to him. He went to Calcutta, he was able to get 15% of positive response for him when Weah had 41%. So he cannot even get those that voted for Weah. What can he do? Nothing. Out of 19 calls, only 3 supported him. 16 told him, no, we know you. You have talked to us for 6 years against the mayor. We are not going to listen to you. We believe what you said first. We don't believe what you are saying now. But what they say when the speaker's voice contradicts the truth and reality, he will have to contradict the truth and reality in order to create space to be accepted. He has a voice that's contradicted itself. Therefore, his voice has no meaning, no appeal, no force. He is wounded and discredited and does not worth listening to. Boakai cannot do anything that can be considered as best strategic policy other than to ignore him and remain silent on that question until his victory on Tuesday.
Can a discredited person tell a truth?
Say again?
Can a discredited person tell anything that can be true?
Yeah,
there's a reason. Somebody see it. There's a reason why. When people who are locked up, sometimes the state uses some of those people as witnesses, right, against other accused, right, against others. So yeah, sometimes a discredited person can. You know what the Unity Party needs to do right now is, they need to, if I was a campaign strategist, you go somewhere and just have a big screen at all your rallies and play Costa's videos for the last 6 years in his description of George Weah. And then at the end of it, the campaign leader, they stand up barrack and just say, I'm Joseph Boakai and I approve this message. That's all you need to do. You don't need to do anything else. Just continue to say, I'm JNB and I approve this message. Just play Costa all day long, and that's it.
Somebody think Costa is having any impact, negative impact on the Boakai's campaign?
No.
Is he having a negative impact? The problem, it could have, but he is not. I don't think he is, because what's going on is the people are finding it very difficult to trust him. He's not trustworthy anymore because he has bounced back and forth. What did we talk about the last time on the other show? Political grasshoppers. It's hard to trust them. He's such a grasshopper. I mean, the grass is
because these politicians are feeding these grasshoppers.
The politicians are feeding the grasshoppers.
And Comrade, one of those.
Comrade Sherry, I want you to answer my question here. JMB is well experienced, a wise old man, and I believe that. He should be a man of institution. I want to think so. He's running a campaign. A campaign should be like a team or as an institution. But here is Joseph Boakai and Costa doing transaction for his campaign. I'm sure he have had a campaign team. What does it say about Joe Boakai more than it says about Costa when it comes to institution? You're running for president, you have your campaign team, but you, the candidate, receiving money from the person who's raising the money personally. You think you would do that, Comrade Sharif, if you were running
the person who is?
Would you do that if you were running for president?
I have my campaign team and someone else is raising funds.
Yeah, and that money is coming directly to you and not going through your campaign. Is that something you would do?
I mean, of course not. I won't do that. I will be more transparent than that. I mean, but the problem is,
what do you think about that Joseph Boakai, with all his experience, would do something like this? Because maybe if you have done it the other way around, it won't have this impact it might be having on him now. I'm not sure.
No, I think, Kwame, you're suggesting that this is going to have an impact, that the Liberian voters are sitting out there tonight.
I just say I'm not sure.
About,
I just say
right.
I'm not sure.
It's not going to have an impact. It's not going to have an impact on Joseph Boakai. I mean, intellectually, we are sitting here intellectualizing, this kind of conduct of a presidential candidate, but in the streets of Monrovia, in the streets of Calcutta, in the streets of Banga, there's real anger against George Weah, and that is the real issue that we should be talking about, and not. And I think that we should be talking about this too, but the real issue is anger against George Weah for the way that he has conducted himself in the executive mansion, for the way that he has left the country ungoverned. And now the country is a mess.
Thank you. So talking about the country being a mess, let's move on to one of these two will be president and will be inaugurated January 2024. Let's look at looking at the various endorsements they've gotten so far. I mean, today I saw my old-time friend, Mr. Amara Kone, endorsing Joseph Newman Boakai in the UP. I also saw Dr. Toka McIntosh Gewe, who was with the CPP. The CPP went one way. Victor went with the CPP. Gewe went the other way, right? So with all these endorsement things that we're seeing, in politics, they say nothing for nothing, right? You eat my rest, you got to sing my song. So what will a Weah re-election government look like? Let's look at the cabinet. Who's going to be there? Are we expecting Weah to appoint Charlene Bromsky as the next justice minister? Perhaps, since they are joining. And what direction you think the country is going to be going in policy-wise? Whatever you think of. That's what I want us to look at now. And let's start with Victor.
Yeah, Victor, the Weah cabinet and the Boakai cabinet, what do you hope to see? Who do you hope to see?
Yeah, thank you. I wish I had the opportunity to also give my input on how Costa's performance is impacting the campaign, but we'll move on. The composition of the cabinet usually is determined by the people you find around the candidate usually, because they will set up the transition team that will do the vetting and all that. So if we go by that, we know the president has his handlers already. He's bringing on board new people who obviously will factor into the selection process. So it is hoped that whoever he's going to appoint will be appointed based on the coalition now that he's building. The CPP has put forth a 12-point recommendation that we would like to see taken into consideration, and therefore we will want to see that the president is selecting people who will believe in. We're called for the prosecution of economic and war crime court. We're calling for the establishment of a youth service program. We want a robust youth program to help a lot of our young people who are all in the streets.
You're not what you want now. What do you think we are going to do? You think we are going to take the country in that direction? Towards a vibrant economy. Do you think he's going to incorporate some people from the opposition, because we have been crying, and I will use we've been crying for Weah to fire some people and replace them. Do you think that's where Weah is going in this? If he's re-elected?
I said that here a fortnight ago, that we're not coming into this endorsement for the purpose of endorsement. I mean, if we have to go to court, we will, and we will insist that our agenda is manifested in the performance of this government. We will insist on that.
You believe Weah can do it?
He has to. He has to. He has to. It's the basis of our endorsement. If he doesn't, then we will have to go to court. We'll have to find a way to make him do so. We believe he has to.
You have been going to court. Have you won any of your court cases?
The former justice who is endorsing the former VP today, he went to the ECOWAS court, right? He got judgment. Now, as to whether his judgment was satisfied, that's another question. But we know Justice Janan was able to take the government. we don't necessarily have to go to the Liberian Supreme Court. We can go to the ECOWAS court, but we will seek justice.
And where is the precedent that ECOWAS court judgment were ever implemented by the Liberian government?
Thank you.
Then we will begin to set a precedent.
Right, but the bigger question here is, why will you trust Judge Weah at this time that indeed, if he's elected, he's going to live by whatever the CPP
I tell you this,
agreement they have?
I tell you this, Dennis. We were concerned as to whether this president would be interested in listening to anything that, given the fact that he doesn't have the burden of his second term hanging over his head. But we understand this president is very concerned. He's a young president. You know, he's almost like a Barack Obama retiring for the presidency. He wants to be around. He wants a legacy. He wants to be a statesman who is serving as envoy here and there. So he is very interested in correcting. I think he's got the message. The vote sent to him. Almost lost this election. I think he's very concerned about that. And because of that, we think he's going to do better than he did during the first time.
Glendy.
I love my brother Victor, and I love his enthusiasm here tonight. I'm sorry to also start from the Prince Johnson factor of 2017, that the jobs that were promised to the Nima people, they didn't get. And so you're talking about George Weah, who has nothing to lose if he wins, that he could not give to what you know what about what Liberian think. I doubt if anything will happen. I also feel sorry for CPP people who think they've now gone into an agreement with George Weah and think that he's going to listen to them after January. You must be so naive to think that Weah will make any change. But the optimism is good.
Maybe they should ask the MPP folks, Glendy.
Thank you. The optimism is also good. That they will now think that Weah has changed. Say that again.
Is that the same naivety that made them give 45,000 to Boakai for a meeting in Accra?
Who am I to say that?
Go ahead.
Who am I to say that? But I would hope that when you look at the two candidates,
let's look at Weah.
And you look at the Weah and you look at the Boakai, I am more optimistic. Just from Amara Condon's, and today I termed that endorsement as the best I've heard so far, with a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of hope for the young people, and a lot of what we're going to see and we're hoping for, and we're looking at other people to say, at least in a UP government, there's a possibility that there's going to be change, because they're coming back to prove themselves. George Weah has nothing to prove.
Glendy, I agree that he was effective.
I understand that he's not going to be in the cabinet, but he's going to be a sitting senator where laws will be made, where he will be participating in discussions of the country.
We
so we expect that he will make some, exactly, but there's some influence.
Like the Dillon influence.
Definitely, of course, you're gonna call Dillon. I'm gonna say there's a Dillon influence. I'm also gonna look at
that's an influence you can rely on.
Yes, but if you're comparing a Boakai government, to a Weah, that optimism, I don't have it. I'm so pessimistic about him. I think he will do nothing. I doubt if Weah will even fire Samatua that he should have fired a long time ago. He's not gonna do it. He does not have the impetus to do any of those things. Nothing will happen.
Mr. Blamo, let's look at the direction of a Weah government.
I believe that Joe Boakai already expressed that he's going to move forward with a collective effort. And I know for sure that there are people who are scouting around looking for the best thinkers and brains that they can and pick.
Nobody contacted me.
Oh yes, that's what I was. They asked them to call me. They didn't even call me. But anyway, so I believe that Joe Boakai would make an effort to appoint people across the aisle. Whether you CDC, whether you neutral, you're gonna get people for the talent. However, the problem with Joe Boakai pick will be the Prince Johnson factor. Joe Boakai, in my mind, even though he will have a cabinet that might be collectively a very skilled cabinet, but he will surround himself with very close people who may be family members, because the idea that everybody I talk to, ask them if the vice president would, in case of anything happen to Boakai, can the vice president would be the next president? Everybody believe that the vice president will never be president. That is another sad mistake. So around Joe Boakai, whether it's the Minister of State for Presidential Affairs, whatever, that group will be his close netted family. And that will be a problem. But outside, he will make a real attempt to get some of the best. I will address the issue of firing the current Minister of Finance. I think that statement is a personal statement, because the finance minister is not necessarily a man who is limited in his ability to run the finance ministry, despite he being close to George Weah. I think he's a man who has experience and he brings something to the table. So if so, he should be kept. But George Weah will be pressured by his new alliance. CPP is not going to play. We just heard some of the effort being made, and there were some people who actually take George Weah to court if necessary and set new precedent. George Weah will be pressured to change his cabinet. I don't know whether it will go as far as the finance ministry, because George Weah come from a background where he's not going to take his players off the field before the end of the game. So he will have people that will remain in place, but he will be forced to mix up his cabinet. And so I think that both of the candidates, whoever wins, will have a diverse cabinet, but there will be some differences in certain areas. I think the problem in Liberia would be the issue of check and balance. That has been the problem all the time. We have a imperial style presidency, where we have from 1847 we have been having emperor status, and we refer to it as president. Until we have people like, hopefully, the new senators coming in, until that can be addressed, whether it will be a change into the constitution, or will be a new institution coming in place, we have to have check and balance. Whoever you have as cabinet will not matter if we don't create a check and balance in the system.
Thank you. I don't know where this is coming from, that CPP is going to sue the Weah government. I don't know what they're going to sue anybody for.
If necessary.
No.
Yeah, but what will be that?
So, yeah, don't make light of this. Don't say you don't know where it's coming from, because
no, what I'm saying is,
if we have to, we will.
Yeah, but based on what? Is there an agreement that
yes,
NBA?
There is a contract. Yes.
And then is the implication of the words. He's saying that they are very serious about the agenda. So he's not necessarily saying, well, they will have to go to court every day, but he's saying it's necessary. That's how serious they are on the agreement with CDC.
I'm not a lawyer, but I don't know what will be the ground. Mr. Sharif, let's talk about the direction of the country under either Weah or Boakai. Let's start with Boakai.
Dennis, first, everything you heard from Mr. Blamo says that George Weah is not a team player. And what you heard earlier from Mr. Nagwin is that George Weah is not a team player, so they are willing to go to court. But good luck with that, because the court system is in George Weah's pocket. What is the precedent? You asked a very important question, and neither guys could answer this question. So good luck. The president says, I'll present to you Joel Howard Taylor. And where did she go with her demands that the MPP people be included in the government? So it's not going to happen. If the CPP join this for government jobs, it's not going to happen. There will be no reshuffle. We will have the same administration. There's no precedence in Liberian history, Dennis.
No, we're not saying we have to be in the government. We're not saying we have to be in the government. Even if we're not in the government,
hold on, Victor, let me finish.
Based on the agreement. That's what we're saying.
Dennis, there's no precedent.
To share with us, Mr. Nambwe.
Dennis, there's no precedent in Liberian history where the opposition coalition has taken the government to court, over government jobs, because it's not winnable. You're not going to win anything like that. It's not a formal agreement. It's called gentleman's agreement.
Again,
these gentlemen's agreement, you have to if you are someone.
Whether we're in the government or not, the government will be held to based on the agreement. We don't have to be in the government. This is not about government jobs.
It's about policy.
Can Sharif finish? Because for me, to sue someone,
these are not legal. Dennis, if you ask the CPP people now to show you a copy of the legal agreement, they're not going to show you, because there is no legal agreement. These are gentlemen agreement. They went to George Weah. They approached the president. They have meetings with both. George Weah.
No. Dennis, you got to stop it, man, from this.
So
these
guys don't want me to finish. I don't know. I don't know when I'm going to finish.
That is not true.
If I would just finish
go
my
to George Weah, George Weah went to them. George Weah approached them. That is not true that they went to George Weah seeking
These guys were not just waiting in the wings for the president to approach them. These guys were already ready to approach the president.
Oh, now we're ready. So we didn't go to find him. That's better.
We don't know what happened behind closed doors. We don't know.
So this is what he did. So Cummins came out and said, I have these are my points. I need a war crimes court. I need it. Really? Are you serious? He's of course not serious, right? He's not serious. So this is not something that George
You're gonna admit it, man. Misrepresent the whole party.
No, hold on, let him finish. I'm not making him to do anything. He's giving his
But Mr. Blummer, you in the people party?
No, but we can't allow people to make irresponsible statements on the political party.
Excuse me.
You were not there. How will you say something you have no evidence of?
Excuse me. There is no legal agreement. So show me. Either of you guys, I'll give you agreement in black and white. There is no legal agreement with the CDC, the ruling CDC, between George Weah and the CPP. There's no legal agreement, so they stand no grounds to go to court. They're not going to go to court. This is a bunch of braggadocio, telling the Liberian people, giving us, another false statement that they're going to go to court. They're not going to go anywhere because George Weah has a history of cheating his opponents. He cheated.
I forgive you for insulting the president, man.
He cheated the NPP. He is a cheater. So he's going to cheat the CPP if he wins. Of course, we're going to, the Unity Party people are going to save them that trouble because he's not going to win on November 14th. So they're going to be put out of their misery.
Comrade Sherry has a point there. I doubt there's any legal document. What they have is a political agreement.
Personal opinion.
Agreement. I mean, these people they contested for the presidency. They did not win. And they want to reach a legal agreement that must be binding on the winning party if CDC win. To do what? That's a political agreement. I don't want to call it legal agreement. And the last time they had a contract, the last time the CPP had a contract, that contract landed Cummins in court.
Yes.
How would this one play out for them again? They are
might go back to court again.
We are guessing.
Thank you. I want to say this is between the headlines. We are discussing a look at possible Boakai Weah government and Henry Pedro Costa, the one-time darling boy and confidant of Mr. Joseph Newman Boakai, has gone rogue. He's talking.
Amen.
And if you want to join the conversation, the number is on the screen, 605-313-6004. The code is 791-403#. Gentlemen, we'll take a short break. When we come back, we're going to hear from our callers. So please don't you go anywhere.
At Focus on Liberia, we discuss everything Liberia, from education to politics, arts and culture, entertainment, agriculture, history, religion, family, and technology. Focus on Liberia uncovers and showcases the best of Liberia and shows the world the truth about Liberia. We educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We conduct interviews, panel discussions, debates, and more. Tune in to Focus on Liberia on Facebook and YouTube and be a part of the stories that make up the news.
This is Focus on Liberia, and I am Dennis Jah.
And
I to
Dennis,
focus on Liberia.
Dennis, you remember the Liberian parable that says when water dry, what happens?
Fish eat
It
fish.
says, yeah, if you look at it, Dennis. So that is President Weah, the foreign minister, and Brennan J. Samunka, who was accused and found guilty by the court, went to court, and now he's in President Weah's church. Politics, right?
No, that's church. Come
Yeah,
to
coalition building.
Come all
And
he
church.
who are weary and heavy laden, and I will give you rest.
Yeah.
So let's keep the service as it is.
Reverend Jah.
Dennis will know about that. Dennis is a bishop, right? I heard him preaching the other day.
Reverend Jah.
Let me bring on the callers now to wait.
The Right Reverend Dr. Dennis John.
The man is Archbishop.
Archbishop. The Right Archbishop Dr. Dennis John.
Our first caller here is Elijah Washington. Elijah, you're live. 1 minute, please, at most.
Okay, Dennis. Thanks for having me on the line. I think it's been a wonderful show. The exchange has been still, and I'm glad that we all speaking to the issues today. Now, my point today is that when I listen to the discussion today, I think it dedicates everything I've always said on this show, that the Boakai leadership will just be a continuation of the visual cycle in our country. I can see sad days in our country, meaning that nothing is going to fundamentally change if you have a Weah or Boakai leading the next 6 years. Nothing is going to change. And something else that I've noticed from the discussion today is what I call a political irony. And I call it political irony because it's something like called that, throwing the baby with the bathwater. I think that with the leadership people, they want to throw the baby with the bathwater. And so Costa started it. He says throw it with the bathwater because everything that comes from me is not good. He's not credible. What he's saying now. So they want to throw everything away. When you talk 2 years ago, the CDC people will be saying the same thing. So that's the irony we find here today now. So but I think Joseph Boakai needs to address this issue. I think he needs to come on and address this issue. That's the thing I think. Costa might not be credible, but I think he needs Joseph Boakai needs to come and address it because I see a pattern here. In his behavior. So I think he needs to come on and say, hey, everything that's Costa said about a personal relationship, but this is not good. Because it's not just about campaign. This is about leadership of our country. And somebody who's our leader, he must be credible. And he needs to come and address this issue. The last thing I'd like to talk about is the impact. Does Costa have an impact? I think it has, but if it's positive, I can see something negative here. Because some of the sampling I've had over the few days, people from CDC are even, they're angry. And people from Unity Party are more galvanized. Like, okay, so he's there, we're going to vote now. And so I don't see it's going to help CDC anyway, and it's going to drive away people who already started supporting the Unity Party. So these are the points I like to make.
Thank you. And Mile, I don't think this is for CDC or Unity Party. It's for people in the middle, the 12-13% that didn't vote out of them. Let me take the next caller here. That's Arthur Weah. Mr. Do, you are live.
Thank you so much, John. Thanks to your panelists. I think what we are hearing from all of the panelists is that the electoral factors so whether we are going to win Weah. I've been in politics for some time now. What is transpiring in the body politics of Liberia is on both sides of the eye is like, confusing the electorate, the voters. And what I do see and I can bet on is that there will be more new voters in the second round, and the chip is going to fall on the side of Weah. Because we are in these positions that the new voters have seen. His performance and all of the good things that he has been doing for the new voters. The voters, they have a say in it. They know what we have done. So there will be new numbers in the voting population when it comes to voters. With respect to Costa will be Costa. And those who live in the Costa before and now, make themselves. But for people to just overlook, just show Costa comments on the report, thinking that any of the things that he's saying would not yield any result, I'm sorry. Costa will always be Costa, and he still has the followers. And the lies, if people think that the lies that were told, Boakai benefited from a big time. They say the man doesn't have a job. But the man is a propagandist. The man has a talk show. That's work. Somebody talked about Limber. I mean, the fact of the matter here is when you go on air and begin to discuss issues of politics, you are at work. You are at work. So people are thinking that Costa doesn't have a work to do it with grouping people here and there. But that's the essence of democracy. That's the essence of propaganda. So yes, indeed, Costa will make a headway, and this particular second round is in George Weah favor.
Thank
all
you.
of the endorsement, we saw those endorsements in 2017, big time with the youth, where it fell. And when we also know today that those endorsements, they will pay for George Weah.
Thank you. Let me bring on our next caller here. The next caller is Tutman. William V.S. Tutman, maybe? No, I don't think so. Mr. Tutman, go ahead. You're live.
Yeah, thank you, Dennis. Thank you to your panelists. I've been listening very keenly. And everybody make their points, and I think they were genuine. Ms. Gladys, she's a strong advocate for the old man.
We on a tree.
They went to the same church. They went to the chief. Well, anyway, that's good. That makes it feel balanced. That's really good. But I want to concur with Mr. Name. Mr. Name make a very good point. In regard to and Mr. Blamo too, and in regard to the Mr. Costco issue, Costa issue. I don't really follow him. I don't listen to him. I haven't listened to him before. I hear his name. I don't take him seriously. But what I would say in regard to the old man, yeah, I think the burden lies on the old man now to come up and dispute these things. This gentleman is saying, because he, I think, according to what I heard from the show tonight, he is showing some emails and email communication
text messages.
People. I mean, text messages rather, and it's between two individuals, So he is showing some of these things. So I think the burden lies on the old man.
Thank you.
He can come directly to dispute it, or somebody in his campaign, and come up and and say something. But as regard to what would be his impact and the endorsement, I'm saying, well, I would agree with the last caller. I think the president is strong, and he has proven himself, even though some of your panelists will not agree. He works with proof for himself. The Liberian people are saying it. And I think he will be re-elected to take the country to the next level. I believe he wants to have a legacy. He's going to come up with a lot of changes. If he's elected in the next 6 years, he's going to make improvement. And things will be different from the last 6 years.
Thank you. Let me go to Mr. Casali Double. Mr. Double, quickly.
Oh, yes. Yes, sir. Thank you very much, Mr. John. And let me say good evening to your panelists and to Sieh. Yeah, the discussion is not a bad discussion. But on the issue that have to do with Costa that you got to actually discussing mainly, one thing I can tell you for Friday, the Unity Party is not going to be relevant. We're going to let sleeping dog lie. This is the 11th hour of the political arena. If anyone who knows politics and knows it well, the moment you make any mistake like a respond to Aaron Costa, it's like you're holding rope and whole bush.
What does that mean? More of Boakai things will come out?
Let it down. We're going to let it die natural death. You know, they came out of the high going to die quiet.
We agree.
Liberia. People don't even regard Costa that much. He's not being regarded. He saw what happened to him in Maggie County. He saw Costa moving around the place. Costa is moving around. You and I know when Aaron Costa was Costa. You know the party made Costa.
What?
And when we saw him misbehaving, we took our support from him. Costa didn't make us. We made him. We made him to have relevance. When we saw supporters going to meet Costa on the airport, they were Unity Party partisans. You saw what happened when he went rogue with Unity Party. So what happened to him? His popularity has dropped to the least.
Thank you.
So we not only gave him ears and on the issue that had to do with runoff election. That's why you see. You can record show that Jonathan Boakai is going to win the runoff election with a very wide margin. Trust me.
Thank you.
We have typed all the loopholes and we got everything in place as compared to what we did, the mistake that was done during the first round.
What mistake? What mistake are you referring to? Not going to the southeast?
What happened was that especially like the southeast, we overlooked the southeast.
You said nobody living there, so I don't know. But thank you.
No, what happened was that we depended only on one or two senators to have been able to do the work, and the county were too many for the two of them. They were too overwhelmed.
Thank you.
So we were able to cover all the federal police part and stuff like that. But I can tell you, right, I show this second round, we are going to put things in place.
All right. Whoever wants to win should visit Dudwicken. Let me bring in Mr. Evans Morris. Evans, you are live.
Are you getting me?
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you. Hello to you and hello to the panelists. Look, Mr. Jai, if I tell you that I live on loans and I can't support myself after being vice president for 12 years, and somebody come up 5 years later or 6 years later and tell you, say, they've been supporting me, is it more likely to be believable or unlikely? The reality is the predicament that Joseph Boakai has put himself in, or his poor financial management of his personal finances, will lead many of us to believe that what Kenyon Costa is saying is the truth. This man is compromised financially. So he has to be begging around for money. He has to use people for money in order to survive. An elderly man who served as vice president don't have any business that can sustain him and his family. He has to be working for government or waiting for government to support himself. That's an embarrassment. So I believe what Costa said.
Right.
And quickly, as seditians, we really hope that George Weah will turn around.
You sedition now?
Yeah, well, sedition.
Sedition.
Oh, okay. I'm putting you on record.
Or George Weah supporters. We really wish that he would turn around his cabinet, honestly. So what Mr.
We're not talking about hope. Is he going to do it?
Hey, I can't say he's going to do it. The chances are 50-50 because, like people are saying, he's starting to realize that his legacy is in jeopardy of being labeled as a bad president. So I think if he values his legacy, and now he's starting to, there's whispers that he's starting to show that he values his legacy, so he could do a turnaround. You know, so I think if he goes that route and makes some important changes and switch around some key players and bring in some more qualified people who are more capable, I think he will leave a better legacy than he had in his first 5 years. But even if he doesn't and he wins this election, at least it will save us from having a Joseph Boakai Prince Johnson presidency. So that would be the silver lining. But I'll leave it there. Thank you for taking my call.
Thank you. Obviously, the crayfish come and get ready already. Then you go pass it near the fire. All right, let me bring on Mr. Kalebo Gonglo. Kalebo. Mr. Gonglo, you are live.
Yes. Good show. But I have a few comments to make. I'm probably the last caller here.
No, you're not. So please be brief.
Okay. My first comment is to just state the consistency with the behavior of Unity Party people. And when once people wear the Unity Party card, they tend to behave the same way. So I'm sitting here watching, listening to Mohammed Sharif and Glendy. They basically pushing everybody under the bus once they don't go the Boakai way, And so I'm not surprised that
that's fine.
Following the same way. But here is what I would say here. Then let's just put a common sense cap here. I listen to Ellis. I didn't even want to go that route. Henry Costa, he spoke. These people here, the Boakai people say Costa is discredited. For argument's sake, let's just agree with them. Let's say Costa represents the worst of the worst in behavior, in conduct, in ethics, in everything. But who recruited Costa? It is Boakai. It is the Boakai who agreed to go in cahoots with Costa. It is the Boakai, the man who say integrity outcome. He went in there with Costa. In the 90s, this was exactly the argument the Nigerian government was making to Europeans and or Westerners. When the 4-1 scheme took a global stage, when the Nigerians duped Westerners and run back to Nigeria to say arrest, they tell the federal government arrest them. The federal government said no. If Nigerian tells you that I have money in the federal central bank, give me this and I'll go there and steal the money and you have a share. And your citizen agreed to cheat, and when our citizen outsmart you and you we should arrest them, you arrest your citizen first who decided to cheat us. This is a similar situation with Boakai and Costa here. Look at what Costa said. It is Boakai who will tell Costa, ask Ellis coming this. And Costa go do it. And you can't say the man is not credible. It is Boakai that is not credible. He decided to recruit Costa to use it as a conduit, and Costa gets him up. So it is Boakai whose credibility is in question. Costa is not on the ballot. So you're going to tell your Boakai, let more Adikans speak to this issue here. 1 year is true thing. What Boakai starts saying, okay? 1 year is Glendy, or Mohammed Sharif, you're going to tell more Adik to speak.
We agree with the story. We have nothing to explain. Thank you,
Kalebo.
No, let me on this.
There will be no explanation from Boakai.
Costa said today when he met Boakai, and he said, oh man, you got to run. Boakai told him, Costa, I can't run here. I and the government gave me $800 US.
We agree.
They gave me $35,000 a month. That kind of money I can run. And Costa said, I told him, so if I go find money, you will run? He said, yes. So he put Costa in the bush. He put Costa in the bush. Eh? And when the ego start learning, the ego has learned, and you can hear to discredit the government.
When are you coming to discuss your crime? When are you coming to say to discuss your crime?
How many times the ego learner?
Thank you, Kalabo. Thank you, Kalabo. Let me bring the next caller. We have 3 more callers. Thank you so much. The next is Terite Yankun. He's a sedition. Go ahead, Terite Lion Yankun.
Hello, is it Benja?
Yeah, go ahead, sir. 1 minute.
Oh, hello?
Yes, go ahead, Teddy.
Oh, okay, Mr. Jao, thanks for taking the call. Well, first of all, to the audience, greetings. I think Costa is the new political, how you call it, from port to soul. And he's more, better than Gareth Data. Costa is using techniques. He's using the Marxist techniques. Costa, he preaches Marxist politics. And he's trying to rebring himself. And now he has come to the Red Spout to help him up. Costa has been doing this work for seditions. When he was convicted, over the years, President Weah has proven himself to the rest of the people and the Costas and the US that he's not easy potato. He's a very genuine, good man. He's a work with all Liberians. So I think that the US family and Costa, they're trying to tap into that vessel of President Weah. Because President Weah is a man who will work with everybody. I think the US family, they want to be peace. They want to be at peace in Liberia. So they want to work with the masses. Where the masses are. So after some time, Costa will gain more relevant. He will people will love him. I think he's trying to seeking for what he wants in this life. His political gift.
Thank you.
That's what you're looking for. But I want to learn one thing, Mr. Jab, please. Okay. I beg you.
Terry, are you part of the masses still?
Please don't let me finish.
Let me just learn, please.
Yes, please.
I want to send a message out. I urge Mr. Cummings to openly endorse President Weah in the CDC. If Mr. Cummings not endorse President Weah in the CDC, which means the Southeast region having a vote for President Weah because we believe that President Weah he have terror development in other places. We want you to reach development in the Southeast region. So if Cummings don't endorse President Weah, which means he'll be stopping development and go to the Southeast region. And 2020 now, the Southeast region will heavily punish him. We will be checking completely if he don't endorse President Weah.
We already not rejecting twice.
Thank you. Thank you for speaking for the Southeast.
Is that false now?
All right.
Right.
Thank you. Let me get Mr. Aliyu Samba Kamara. Vali, come on today.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You know what really made me to call was to come here and laugh at my people. Because they had 12-point count. A joke that I implemented was so joke. Because I didn't have it cracking up like nobody this. But I can't speak without extending special greetings to Glendy, and you guys, all of you know that. Let me assure you, Joseph Boakai will shall never respond to Henry Costa.
Negative.
Joseph Boakai shall never, especially not even before the 14th of November, come up to give any credit to what Costa has to say. Costa can jump around, he can holler, he can curse, he can show your text messages. That's your business. Mo Ali has been instructed not to respond to Costa, and that's how it's going to be. Now, let me just
what's the fear, though? But go ahead.
No, it's not about fear. It's about he's not important enough. Let me tell you something.
He's no longer important. Go ahead. Go to your next point.
Like Glendy said something. If Mr. Cummings can come out and say, I gave Boakai this, that's when Boakai will respond. Not Costa. Joseph Boakai knows that he and Costa are not on level. Why should Christian man Korea go from the bathroom door run away then or run behind the Christian man board nigga? You can't do that. So we're not gonna do that. But we had a great showing today in Monrovia. You don't want to emphasize on that much. My brother Ansony Sieh over there, Dr. Eddie Murphy today. He's serious with the whole Costa thing. He and Costa now become best friend now. Everything Costa saying now the Bible story. But that's okay. What we can tell you is that look,
that's blasphemy. Blasphemy.
Please. Okay, so let me tell you this: we are going to win this election, and Brother Victor, you can tell this is a very calm people. Okay, we talking, he's smooth, he counts his words, but you see, he's very fired. Anything you talk about Victor, when you tell the man, I saw at one point the man bought his face. You ready to throw oh, now you know.
Thank you, Alio.
But let me just say this before I go. Lord, let me tell you something. You were working in the Joseph Boakai government. You work in the Joseph Boakai government. Get ready. Tell Omar over there, say, I'll be going to Monrovia to work for Joe Boakai.
How about me?
Thank you. Let me bring our last caller here. That's Thomas Canning. Thomas, you're live. One minute, please.
Nice show, Dennis and the team. Thanks so much. I thought Ali was going to say this, but he didn't say it. So when Costa started this whole thing, JMB forgave him. So that forgiveness covers everything he's doing now. It covers the emails, it covers the WhatsApp messages, and everything. He has already been forgiven.
Oh, even the future transgression are forgiven.
Even the future. No. Everything is being forgiven for everything. So you can just continue. Anything that he got, he can put it out. But to be very frank, at this crucial time of the campaign, when people are negotiating endorsements and having meetings with folks, you expect JMB to post all of that and respond to a WhatsApp message where anybody can just take anybody's picture and put it on a number and be able to have these comments. I think like others have said, Costa can do anything he wants to do. JMB is not going to respond to him. And I also do think that everything that Costa and others do, and the other day we were talking about our politicians on how they move from one party to the other, it is all as a result of these years of investment in electricity, where there are no institutions, there are no accountability, people can do anything they want to do. And Costa was elevated to that level where he feels that he cannot go down. I listened to one of his videos, he was saying, I resurrected people's career, and I can resurrect my political career. So he gets to that level where he feels he's super. Now even people who went to school, and you always say this, Dennis, this is the reason why politicians are not coming for you with all of the technical skills that you have. Because Costa and other people have just polluted the political space in Liberia. He continue what he wants to do. But I think with the consciousness that he's building, they might just get to a point where they don't have market for themselves. The other point I wanted to make is one of the first callers was say, okay, JMB government, George Weah, it will not be any improvement. At this point in time, what Liberia needs is to just stop this retrogression and change gear and for us to move forward. If that takes 3, 4, 5 years or the next 5 years for us to do that, it's okay. And then others keep making this point of reshuffling government. The problem with President Weah is that he does not even know what this ministers are supposed to be doing, what the head of business is supposed to be doing. So he doesn't know whether they are doing well or not. So he has no interest in reshuffling his government. If he had interest in doing it, he would have done it 5 years ago. And then the other caller was saying that Mr. Cummings should openly endorse George Weah. How much more do you want Mr. Cummings to endorse George Weah? His party as a structure, as a unit, has already endorsed George Weah. And George Weah said the reason why there is no development in the Southeast is because it has been raining. So if the reason why the Southeast is not benefiting from development is not because Mr. Cummings has not openly supported George Weah. It's because it's raining too much in Liberia. Thank you all very much.
Thank you. And if Mr. Weah does not reshuffle, Victor say he will be sued.
I think we oversimplifying what the man said.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Blue. Thank you, my brother.
Yes.
Thank you, my brother.
Yes, I am, because
I think Dennis up to mischief here, but let him go ahead.
I can't say all that one in long. So
And that is why my brother Aliu Kamara endorsed me in my absence. I heard that.
All right. Thank you so much. Let's wind this down as time is fast spent. Always focus on Liberia, where we educate, we elevate, and promote all things Liberia. As we say, from Cape Mount to Cape Palmas, from Mount Nimba to the Atlantic Ocean, focus on Liberia. The best since 1822. Let's go around the room for your closing. Mr. Sharif.
Yes, my friend, comrade Kalapo Gonglo came on, and as usual, as with Kalapo Gonglo, my thing with that is, I don't know where Kalapo Gonglo stands, right? So he's not saying where he is, but we know he's leaning CDC, and I've challenged him to come out and say that your CDC. And thereby endorsing the brutality against university students, Student Unification Party members who are protesting in front of the United States Embassy. So he does not want to do that because he was one of those guys who joined SOUP because SOUP was the winning party at the time. So you have individuals who join political organizations because that political organization is on the winning side. So now he's leaning CDC because CDC is the ruling party. When the Unity Party was in office, Kalapo Gonglo benefited from the Unity Party. I believe they're the ones who voted the Unity Party into office the first time around. So I'm not really surprised that the brother is just jumping all over the place and leaning CDC. If that's what you are, just announce it, and I'm sure that's what he is. So to conclude for me, I don't really have much, but I thought it was laughable that the brothers talk about the court, that they're going to go to court, take George Weah to court. George Weah that does not respect the legality, the Liberian legal system. He does not respect the African legal system. Just ask Kabina John, and what did he get out of that? So George Weah does not respect law and order. So good luck to the CPP. And I'm here to say that you did not sign a legal agreement with George Weah. So George Weah, that's not even binding on him. It's a gentleman's agreement. Anytime you endorse an opponent, at least in Liberia and in most countries, it's a gentleman's agreement. You're hoping that if this person wins, they can, and perhaps a gentlewoman's agreement as well, because it's not all men, So so that you're hoping that when this candidate wins, that they can live by these kinds of agreement, right? But they're not legal. So in the case of George Weah, he doesn't understand all of that. He's not a good team player. He was a terrific soccer player. I don't know why he's struggling with just being a team player. He's not. So good luck to the CPP. Good luck to those who are joining him now, thinking that they are going to share in the cake. George Weah takes his own cake and eat his own cake. He does not share. So good luck to you guys. And what I would say is that Mr. Cummings has been very disappointing in this process because he has shown to the Liberian people that he does not stand for anything. He does not. He's not even at an endorsement ceremony. He has himself, and he goes somewhere else. And this is very disheartening for someone who is planning on running in 2029. But I tell you what, in 2029, we're going to have a terrific candidate in 2029 that's going to change Liberia for the better. So stay tuned. We will unveil a candidate to you, and sooner or later, who's going to change the entire Liberian nation state. I thank you, and looking forward to Friday night debate.
And that's not Appleton, right? Or maybe not. All
No,
right.
no. You're
Mr.
talking.
Sharif,
Watch tomorrow. You might be surprised.
you're right, Mr. Sharif. Cake. I hope sometime instead of using cake, another time you use color or something else.
There used to be this. Just real quick, man. There used to be this. This woman, this Oma, his waitress. She used to make a color, and it was pepper. We used to call it pepper color. So she would make this color very nice, where pepper sauce on the side. So we'll buy this, wrap it up. Sometimes put it in our pocket. Sometimes put it in our bag and go to school. So you make me remember something, Dennis, and that's quite very interesting.
Mr. Blambo, your closing, sir.
Yes, I would like to apologize on behalf of Mr. Sharif for misrepresenting the candidates and the insults on the president and accusation with no evidence. But I mean, he's a good politician, Every time you ask him a question, he present a whole speech against George Weah. This election, we don't have the excellent choices. We have two candidates who are running, and the nation need to make a decision and choose what best. And the officers or the cabinet that they will be selecting is clear that both people and candidates will make a real effort to create a diverse staff. However, each of these candidates will hold on to certain people, which I've explained earlier. Henry Costa did raise money for UP and Joe Boakai. Stanton confirmed that, and Henry Costa presented his evidence. The motive behind Henry Costa explanation is something that will leave to the citizen to decide for themselves, and we'll see what impact it will have. Personally, I think it will have an impact because of the kind of people we are seeking. Because right now, everybody who will vote for Joe Boakai will vote for Joe Boakai. Those who will vote for George Weah will vote for George Weah. We are looking for that small percentage, and that percentage is the youthful citizens. And most of them, we cannot just define where they stand. So if I were a campaign manager, I will address that. Not necessarily Joe Boakai himself, but we address the issues because those are damaging statements. And with reference to where we will lead our country after this election, I personally believe that we have a situation where none of these candidates will be able to eliminate poverty. If Ellen Johnson Sirleaf cannot eliminate poverty in 12 years with billions of dollars in UN funding, Joe Boakai or George Weah were never going to do it in 6 years. I personally believe that there are no fixers, there are no rescuers, there are no movers, there are no shakers. The change in this country must come from the people. We, the people, must be the change that we seek. And the idea of saying that we have a leadership deficit, I personally believe the leadership deficit in this country go beyond the president's office. It's all over the entire nation. And one man, well, whoever wins the election, is not going to change this country overnight. The leaders who are followed by their people, there are three countries that are known for that: China, Russia, and North Korea. In all those countries, there's still poverty because poverty is a part of capitalism. We need what Joe Boakai called a collective effort if we want to move the country forward. George Weah called it empowerment of the people. There has to be a real serious empowerment of the people. We have to elect our county leaders because our people lack political experience in check and balance. So if you cannot cultivate that experience in the county level to be transferred to the national level, it will not work. And we need to have a balance of power. Since 1847, we have had imperial style presidency, more or less emperor status. We have to reduce that. We have to pressurize the new senators to create a system that actually work as it was intended. And we have to fulfill the broken promise to restore political rights to our indigenous people in the counties. These people have to be given their God-given rights to be determinant of their own destiny, to be participant in the noble task of nation building and not spectators or mere voters. Until we can get to that point, we will have elections after elections, and we will always be looking for new messiahs. I thank you.
Thank you. Glendy.
Yeah.
That was a 10-minute speech there. But anyway, it's good to be on here tonight.
For 12 minutes.
Good to be on here. I wrote a few things down that I want to say. I usually don't do that, but I don't want to skip any of my points that I want to say tonight. So I'm going to be precise and to the point. I want to acknowledge the quality endorsements today to the Unity Party, specifically that of Amara Kone, that gave hope to the young people. I was extremely proud of him, and I was extremely proud of how he spoke. In today's endorsement,
Amara is not a young man, though.
For me, I'm older than he is.
Okay.
And then stop distracting me with your neutrality, please.
No, I mean because I know he's not young.
He gave hope to the young people coming up. He spoke. He allowed us to see how you can speak to the issues and not be discontent with others. That is why I enjoyed about Amara Kone today. Thank you for showing the picture. Quality endorsement today with the Unity Party. I was excited about that. There are more endorsements coming. I encourage FOL to listen out tomorrow. There's another one coming out. So you just listen out. You're gonna see. In the end, I am a bit disappointed with Mr. Cummings. Why it is that it took me a long time. One of the reasons why I never said which party I was supporting because I don't support parties. I support individuals. And so my sympathy was always towards CPP or to ANC because one of the reasons is I felt that Liberians as a whole were a bit disingenuous to Mr. Cummings because we have this connotation where, oh, you haven't been in Liberia long. Where have you been? So I always felt sympathy that he was a Liberian. If he wanted to run as a president, no one should shortchange him on that. But I'm disappointed that in these times where the leader should be able to continue to lead his troop, no matter what he faces, I see that for me, I feel that Mr. Cummings has abandoned his troop and has decided that he's going to be a Pontius Pilate and wash his hands away from this. If Mr. Cummings
more scripture.
Yes, more scripture tonight. If Mr. Cummings has all along in the last 6 years promoted the fact that he was a Liberian, he wanted to promote Liberian issue, he wanted change in Liberia, no matter what he was faced with, it was important to make sure he continued to lead his troop. This is my opinion, I can only speak for me. So I'm a little bit disappointed that in the end of it all, Mr. Cummings has decided not to pick a side. I love the fact that I am not going to be neutral, that I will be fully participatory in making noise in social media land for Joseph Boakai.
Interrupted sometimes.
I will be supporting. I'm supporting Joseph Boakai. Any platform I'm invited on, make sure you recognize me as a UP partisan. Huh? Supporting Boakai. Thank you very much.
I thought you said you only support individual non-party.
Now I will support the party because I will not support anything anything concerning CDC. I will not go near it. Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Very powerful statement.
And you heard it right here on Focus on Liberia for the first time.
Very powerful statement.
Let me go to Mr. Nambwe, even though Glendy all alone they have anyway. Let me leave that part. Mr. Nambwe.
I'll vote for Glendy for president.
So, Dennis, can you bring that picture up for a minute? The picture you just had up.
Okay.
See my brother Victor.
So look in this picture and tell me what the problems are. There is one lady in this entire picture. There's one.
But you should also understand these are endorsements now.
Thank you.
But there have been other women too who have endorsed.
Thank you, Dennis. You can take it down now.
Don't forget that there's a woman that's leading the rescue mission. Don't forget that.
This is one of the things that the CPP is proposing to this government. That
oh Lord, we're going to court again.
If you are really like that, we want at least 30% representation of female in the government, and we will make sure it happens. But I'll tell you this. Also, if Mr. Cummings had put a noose around the CPP, you wouldn't have Dr. Gabriel McIntosh standing over there today endorsing the president. So, it's a democracy. We're all free to go our separate ways.
It also tells a different story, though.
Which is?
Thank you.
That people will just, that they use him, and they eat his money and run away. That's why, that's why they start calling him Yawliadi.
I'm not going to deny that, but I'm not speaking to that either. But I'll tell you this: endorsements for me, they mean nothing. We've seen the crowd politics in the lead up to the elections. People were, Donald Trump was counting people. We know what that means. The real work is getting the feet on the ground and going to the communities and getting the votes out. So, endorsement, Amara can come and say whatever you want to say. That's beautiful, and I respect him for that. But I don't really believe it's gonna move the needle. But we are not endorsing the CDC based on their past performances. We are endorsing them based on their potential to do good. We are endorsing them based on their potential to do good. And we will insist that we will transform this government into doing good. If it doesn't, you will be hearing from us. You will be hearing from the CPP. We started with whether Henry Costa is believable or not. I still insist that the message that Henry Costa was conveying is what should have been of interest to us as opposed to the person Henry Costa. If the vice president is so vulnerable to the point where he and his nephew are fighting over $1,000, $500, then we should be troubled that this man is going to be presiding over millions and millions and millions of dollars. I will leave it at that. You go figure. Now, smart money says the UP people should leave the Southeast alone. They missed that train. It has already left the station. It is late. If they are wasting their time in the Southeast right now, they are throwing their resources away. They should have done that before October 10th. They didn't do that. They should focus on those areas that they did good and try to squeeze out the little additional percentage. Just a little free piece of advice to my friends. I have a lot of friends in the in the UP, don't waste your money chasing mirrors. It's not going to help you. As to the impact that Costa is making on this process, I think the judgment is still out. But it will be a mistake, given the margins right now between the two candidates, to ignore anything that has the potential to tilt the process. And Henry Costa could very well do that. So if I were in the UP, yes, I will continue to say, he means nothing. But deep down, we'll do the best we can to counter those allegations by coming out and disputing where we think he is not telling the truth, disputing what he's putting out there, but to just leave it out there, lying down there, and expect also come on the show and be the one trying to disprove what they don't want to disprove, I think it's not doing them any favors. It is not. Now, we are saying that we will take this government to task. And my friend Mohammed is Sherry is seizing on this. He's mocking us. We can't go to court and all of that. And yeah. We will have the last laugh.
Thank you.
So, but we intend to help this government and make it into a good government because our people deserve better. This is why we're supporting this government. Thank you very much. It's been a great show, and it's always good to be here.
Thank you. In my village, they said the time Rabbi on top of the mountain, he raised a hand. He didn't touch heaven. At the time in the valley, you're going to touch heaven. But
Right.
Time will tell.
Right. Good luck with that.
And there is also a parable that says the time the rain was falling, you didn't feel your drum.
Right.
The dew is falling, and that's when you expect your drum to be filled to have water for your family. You must be dreaming.
Wow. And there's a parable that says, watch and see.
There's a parable that said nothing is impossible.
That's right.
And so
with choice where everything is impossible.
We wait and see, and time will tell us what will happen. We were here. We waited for time to know what will happen to the CPP. We know what happened. We will know what happened when that time
But I
comes.
say this though, even though I have closed, but I think we should all really say a prayer for Liberia. Whoever emerges out of this,
my brother,
The pastor will pray.
prayer is not gonna help Liberia, and that's the last thing. Anybody,
The
any
CPP has no base.
Who believes in God, any human being who believes in God.
Democracy is an act of faith.
You have all closed, gentlemen. It's time for the moderators, and I'm closing to say, any person who believes in the God Almighty, that prayer will help Liberia, that person is not worshiping God. The Bible said, and I quote, faith without work is a dead one. So stop praying, work. God Almighty told us that work. Let your work be your prayer. That is my interpretation of that. I will close then to say the endorsement from Amara Connect today on the delivery, it was effective. I follow the politics, so I like to see politics that is effective. Whether or not it will move a needle is another thing. I'm not sure this is going to move any needle, but for him to have come out to endorse Joseph Boakai, I think it was effective. He is the most closest to Ellen Johnson Sirleaf now, coming on JMB side to have endorsed JMB openly in this manner. Most of the people who were close to Ellen Johnson Sirleaf has turned their back to Joseph Boakai. One has come home. It's only going to excite the base a little bit. I don't know how much different it would make. So to the Unity Party was a meaningful endorsement in terms of excitement. I saw Glendy was so excited. She spoke so eloquent about it. She wished I were the deciding, thing for the election. Should be.
So what is BJ Samuka leaving the reservation or what?
But we also saw Samuka, who
You didn't
was
follow his politics though.
Can I close,
But
please?
you didn't follow his politics. Samuka
Can I close, please?
A reason.
Hey, Glendy, can I close, please? We saw Samuka at a church, at George Weah Clone Church. He was one of the honest ministers who served in Ellen Johnson's administration, Unity Party administration for the entire 12 years. He was in George. We have for a clone today. I don't know what that means. We'll wait to see. And
he put out a
finally,
statement already.
oh my God, I can't close now. What is with Glendy today, people? And Dennis, I also want to report that Cabinet Janet has endorsed Joseph Imam Boakai. This is a fact. I have credible information. He did so, and I think in the picture that I show at the endorsement ceremony today, he was one of those standing and pointing his finger up there.
But what does the finger mean? We already gone past the one round knockout. What does the one finger mean?
Number one.
Joe Boakai is number one on the ballot, and that's why it means so. That is my closing.
So you went to Weah. You don't know Weah number. CBP went to Weah. You know the number. Oh, you know that Boakai. You know.
CPP is done.
And Samuka being in church, my Bible tells me, do not forsake the assembly of the saints. So he simply went to church.
Samuka was, according to Samuka, he was invited. President Weah called to talk to him. When he asked President Weah, he said, I'm on my way. President Weah said, I'm at the church. And that's how he went to the church. He put out a statement today. Samuka remains a senior advisor to VP Boakai. He remains.
Thank you, Gladys. Anytime you explain it, it means you're losing.
No, I'm not.
That's true. When you explain too much, defending too much, it means you're losing.
And you know what is here about picture, right?
I'm not.
Right. So Amara endorsing Boakai is John Palmer, John Rose is coming home. I don't know why he's doing it now. It would have been juicier if he had done that in the first round. But now it's like
so CPP going to Weah and not coming home.
It's like Glendy endorsing everyone else. I mean,
right.
So that only the other way around, Dennis, Sieh. You better be balanced here.
No, there's no balance host since 1822. CPP is a separate party, but Amara is an individual. He's a friend.
Okay. I hear you.
But we're going to close. And the song that closes us says, we are all Liberians. Whether you are number one or number two, or since there is no Appleton, you can be whatever number. We are all
Watch
Liberians.
the news tomorrow. Watch the news tomorrow.
Yeah. Have a good night and God bless you.
Thank you.
Liberia people. Liberia.